here's Brody Brazil.
I'll share with you an article that not only caught my eye, it kind of caught my ears at the same point here. From NPR, more than 1 billion young people could be at risk of hearing loss, a new study shows. Now, to be clear, this is not something that's contagious or genetic. This is based on decisions that humans are making to listen to things just a little bit too loud, maybe louder than we ever did before on a more regular basis. All of this centering around what the article calls unsafe practices. This comes from medical research and a clinical study. Recommended limits for human beings is about 85 decibels of volume across a 40-hour week. So across 40 hours, 85 dB, that's a good listening level. But they've found across the last 20 plus years that young people ages 12 to 35, they've been actively listening at 105 decibels. That's a significant increase. I know that you might gloss over 85 and 105, no big deal, but yeah, about 20% of an increase for young people. Why is that important? I'll share in just a second. The article also goes on to document entertainment venues, which it says average about 104 to 112 decibels. Now, to be clear, I don't think we are at concerts and sporting events on a regular basis like every night, but I think the more important part is the active listening at 105 on a more frequent basis. Damage from unsafe listening can compound over the life course, and noise exposure earlier in life may make individuals more vulnerable to age-related hearing loss, researchers said. And that's kind of the worrisome part here is we don't yet recognize or realize all of the full effects of what we're doing now as opposed to what we'll all find out 30 years from now when a 20-year-old now is about to be 50 or a 30-year-old now is about to be 60. What effect is this going to have on all of us later in life? Temporary threshold shifts and hidden hearing loss likely serve as predictors for irreversible permanent hearing loss and may present as difficulties hearing in challenging listening environments such as in background noise, the researchers said. Essentially, these are the ways that it will affect us. I mean, hearing is one of the senses, one of the main senses. It's how we operate. Your life as a human being would be so different if you could not hear me right now. And for those who might be reading the closed captions on this video, I don't need to tell that to you, and you know more than me about that. But I think we realize that these unsafe practices do have some risk, and I think we're all guilty of it. I, right now, am probably listening on my headphones to myself recording this too loud. It's a habit. How do I break this habit? A person's risk of hearing loss depends on how loud, how long, and how often they are exposed to certain noises. A sign that you may have engaged in unsafe listening practices is tinnitus or ringing in the ears. And I've got to tell you, on a regular basis, after I host a TV show, I don't wear headphones like this. I wear an earpiece. It goes right in the ear. But I'll take that earpiece out of my right ear, and it's always my right ear, which I am worried about over time. And I have to wear it in the right ear. Long story because of where I sit, the positioning, and how I want to hear somebody else. There's no other way for me to really do this the right way. I guess I could try and switch to my left ear, or I could turn it down, but I'm so accustomed to a certain volume when I present, hearing it a certain way. And when I take that earpiece out, a lot of times, it's like ear's a bit sensitive. And these are for half-hour and hour spurts at a time. So it's not 5 minutes, it's a significant duration. So I myself am reading this with a bit of concern and care. For adults, hearing loss could be linked to a decline in the state of one's mental health, lower income, depression, cognitive impairment, and even heart problems, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I think there's a lot of things that are connected to hearing loss, and how do you get to lower income? How do you get to mental health and depression? I mean, you can see how one thing leads to the next. I don't think they're saying that hearing loss directly overnight makes you depressed or puts you in a worse financial situation, or how does it relate to heart problems, but you do see the domino effect of struggling with one of your senses all of a sudden as you get older. I'm going to throw in my bigger picture thoughts here. These are in addition to the article. These are from me now. These are not from NPR. all of us have more devices and more capable devices now than we've ever had before. In the 80s, your Walkman, I'm not even talking about the Discman, like the tape cassette player, it couldn't produce a volume this loud. And you didn't always have it with you, but you always have your phone. You probably always have your ear pods around. So people are listening to more things for longer spans on better devices, better powered devices. They're able and capable to play higher volumes. I do think that earphone listening, like putting the sound right in your ear canal, is at an all-time high. I don't think earbuds were even a thing 30 years ago. Headphones were, but earbuds like we see them today at a crazy pace and a crazy clip. Now, I do want to share with you here that your phone has got protections built into it. If you kind of just scroll down here from the main screen, there is an icon down here that will display the hearing level, the volume level, but how your ears are hearing it in terms of the decibels coming out of your headphones and into your ears. And it'll warn you, green, yellow, or red. It'll also measure that exposure over a certain period of time. That's a relatively new feature, but that is available. So let's just say it right now. The protection for you is there. Let's learn how and figure out how to use this protection. And then the last thing I want to point out is that there's such a factor of competing volume. If I'm in a loud space, naturally, what am I going to do? Crank the headphones up. I'm in a subway, on an airplane. If I don't have noise canceling, crank it up. It's that competing volume these days that I think is getting us back to elevated levels of volumes that we don't need to be listening at. Anyway, is some of this, I don't want to say, a trendy article to concern people. It catches your eye, right? But there is something to it. Think about it. Let's have some common sense here. There is something to this, whether we've proved it yet or not.